welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to a new video. So I got some more interior parts by Overland Designs. Right now I have the gauge cluster insert. I have the dash MFD hood. I have both the shift boot and the e-brake boot. So I decided to do a little bit more. In the 2015 to 17 STIs, the trim on the shift area, the shift plate, is silver. And what I did a while ago was I wrapped that gloss black. I also did the ring around the shifter. I'll show you in a bit what I have just so you get an idea. I also wrapped that in carbon fiber just to get rid of all the silver. I didn't like any chrome or silver in the car. So I did that for a while. I liked it. It didn't bother me. But since I did all the other Alcantara parts, I wanted to do a little bit more. So I got a few more parts by Overland Designs. Jason, I've known him since my WRX days. He does some really nice work. And I wanted to kind of complete the interior with the Overland kind of upgrade, I guess. So I did more Alcantara with red stitching. He does a lot of parts for not just Subarus, but other brands as well. So you can reach out to him. I'll put all his information down in the description below. But you can basically reach out to him, ask him any questions that you may have, and he'll be able to do it. He's phenomenal. His work is top notch. It's better than OEM. And everything, it's genuine Alcantara. He can do leather as well if you're interested in that. You can do this either one of two ways. You can either have him wrap, he can get brand new parts from Subaru and wrap them and send them to you. And then you can send back for your core, your core exchange. Or you can send your pieces in and he can wrap them and send them back. I always just choose to get new parts. It's just easier that way, because that way I'm not driving around with all these different pieces missing, and it doesn't really bother me about sending out my pieces, because what I'm getting in return is way better than my stock pieces, even though my stock pieces are perfectly, perfect. There's no problems with them. These are the trim that goes down on the side of the shifter plate. So it's going to sit like this. It's got a really nice red stitching. It's going to follow the shift boot. I have the same exact stitching on the shift boot and the e-brake boot. Really clean, really nice. Like I said, right now I have them in wrapped in gloss black, but I wanted to get the Alcantara to kind of have everything flow real nicely. The really nice part about this stuff too is it's vacuum sealed. It's all wrapped individually. Like you can tell it hasn't been opened yet. So that's a nice touch. But these are all brand new OEM Subaru pieces. He orders them from Subaru, so you're getting brand new parts. You're not getting some janky old pieces. So I decided as well to get the shift ring that goes around the actual shifter in Alcantara as well. Got the red stitching too. So basically that's going to sit in the middle like this, flow really nicely, and just kind of complete the Alcantara look. Some people don't always like all Alcantara, but for me, I think it always looks really nice. Kind of gives a premium look to the car, and I just like the feel of Alcantara. Reminds me a lot of Porsches and obviously BMW and stuff too. So kind of gives it that upper scale premium look and feel. This is the panel that goes. So you got the hood here with the MFD, the multifunctional display. Then you got the panel that's right above the vents. So the vents are right here. I actually have mine wrapped in carbon, 3M Dynoc carbon fiber. I did that a while ago just to kind of, I don't know. I had some extra material, so I decided to wrap it. But I wanted to do an Alcantara eventually, so it's going to flow really nicely with the Alcantara hood. It's going to flow down to the, the radio and everything, and then down to these pieces. So this one, I didn't get any stitching or anything on that. I just wanted to get the plain Alcantara. You can actually, I've seen people do stitching right down the middle, but I don't want to get too crazy. And this part I was back and forth with. I knew I wanted these pieces, but this was, I was a little up in the air. I don't want to say it's too much, but it's definitely the next step in Alcantara interior. I went back and forth on it, but ultimately I knew I wanted it. So I decided just to kind of splurge a little bit and go with it. So this is the full centerpiece, where your cubby goes for your cup holders and your SI drive and everything right here, your heated seat buttons. I opted for red stitching on the side. So you got it here. And I also got it on this side too. This is actually not an option, but I was talking to Jason, I said I want it on here. The trim around the shifter is going to have the red stitching, then the e-brake boot right here is going to have the stitching, and then it's going to continue here. The thing with the e-brake, it's not going to line up with this though, because the way the e-brake lands and the way where the stitching is, you can't have it follow this line, but it's going to follow this line. So I'll show you in a second, but it's going to follow the sides here, and it's going to go up a little bit on the boot and then back down. But I didn't want to leave this part empty. Usually people do that. I wanted to leave the stitching there so it stays nice and even, and my OCD would, be satisfied. So really happy with it. I mean, this is genuine Alcantara, real. This is not some fake suede or anything like that. This is real black Alcantara that they use in everything that you can possibly imagine. So all the upper scale luxury vehicles and all that stuff. So this is the real deal. You don't have to worry about it fading from the sun or anything like that. This is actually UV protected. It's real Alcantara, like I said, so you're not going to worry about that. So now that you see all the pieces laid out, first we're going to go to the car. I'm going to show you what I'm working with right now, what the car has been, kind of what I've been rocking for a little while. And then we're going to take all those pieces out, replace everything. I'll show you how to pop all this stuff in and how to do it all, and then we'll show you the final look. But I'm excited for all these pieces. It's really going to make the interior feel much nicer. All right, so we're in the car, obviously, but you can see what we're working with. This is just a plain, stock, material that you get with any STI. It's a scratchy. I'm always afraid I'm going to scratch this too. So having Alcantara here will, just make it a little bit more scratch resistant. I'm going to transfer all this stuff over the SI drive, the cup holders and stuff, and the heated switches and everything. It just all kind of transfers over to the new piece. This is the stock OEM Alcantara armrest, so that's going to flow, but it has the same exact stitching. And then if you come up here, this is the Overland. These are the two boots that I've had for a while, but the same company, Overland Designs. But these trim, it's cut in the 15 to 17s come with the silver, which I'm sure you guys are familiar with if you guys have a 15 to 17. What I did a while ago is wrap these gloss black just to get rid of that. I really liked it. It looks really nice, but I'm happier with the Alcantara. So I also wrapped this trim at Dynoc 3M. This is stuff I've had for a very long time. I had so much material from past projects and everything, so I decided to wrap this to get rid of the silver and the chrome color. So that was really cool, but time for a change. And then we can kind of move up here. I also have the Overland Alcantara hood right here, which I did a while ago when I did the 2018 MFD. And then you can see right here, I just have the same material as down here. I have it wrapped up here as well. It was just something quick that I did a while ago. But the one bad thing about this is it causes reflection, and it kind of reflects right onto the screen here. So it gets a little hard to read sometimes when it's sunny out. So putting Alcantara here will reduce the glare, and plus it will just look better. You can also get this piece in Alcantara, so everything would just flow. But since I have the iDoing head unit, this whole piece doesn't come out like the stock piece. It's all one piece. So I couldn't get that piece. But either way, I'm not really too worried about that because it still works really well. And also over here, you can see the whole gauge cluster surround is the same, Alcantara with the red stitch. This is not owned by Overland Designs, but it's the same, Alcantara, red stitch. So everything's going to flow really nicely, look really good. And I'm really looking forward to getting all this stuff in. So let's get into removing all this stuff. I'll kind of walk you through it quickly of how to do it. I've actually done it before when I was doing the boot install over here, how to remove all this. But we're gonna have to take this out of the car because you have to get behind here to remove all the clips and everything to replace those. But yeah, let's get to removing everything and getting the stuff on the car. All right, so we're gonna start up here. This part can be tricky if you don't know a cool trick, which I'll show you. So the first thing that I'm gonna do is pop the head unit down. If you have the stock head unit, you can just remove this piece first. You can pull the whole thing out, so it's a little bit easier. But since I have the iDoing, I got to pull the whole thing out, which is not hard. But a trick to getting this piece out, it can be pretty difficult. But if you have two zip ties, if you go in, there's the little holes that you just slip one of the zip ties in. You make like a ring, and then you go like this, and then you can pull it right out. So I'll do that quickly. You just slip it through one of these holes, make like a little handle basically, and then you're just gonna tug. So there we go. Pulled it out. We're good. Oh, got some bubbles. Now we're going to get to removing, all the centerpieces here. So I'm just kind of taking out all the stuff here. First thing you need to do is you're gonna have to remove your shift knob because you're gonna have to pull the piece over. Where you want to start is right here at the e-brake handle. So you just want to pop that up. And then you're gonna come across, there's one Phillips screw right here. I'm just gonna get my Wera screwdriver. Love this thing. It's in the description below. You got all the attachments and everything if you're interested. We're just going to unscrew this. Now, there's two screws in the center console here in the armrest that I'm going to remove, so I have better access to pull this back. You can do this without removing this, but I just prefer removing it because it gives you a little bit more room, a little easier access. All right, so what I ended up doing for this piece, I actually just reached under, unplugged the STI light, and then I ended up popping the boot out with the clip. Since I have the pair and reverse lockout, it's much thicker and it's hard to pull over. Now that I have the boot off, it gives me plenty of access to be able to pull this out. No problem. So now we're going to remove this piece. Start on this piece. Simple, I know how to do it. I haven't taken this off yet, so I could do some looking around to make sure I'm able to take it off safely, which I'm sure will be easy. You can tell it just comes off, and it's probably just some clips and screws and everything. First thing, I'm going to remove these side trim pieces. There is 1, 2, 3 Phillips head screws that we're just going to remove, and then the actual trim piece is gonna just come right out. I think I actually did the wrapping on this trim pretty much when I got the car. I want to say maybe a month or two after I had it. I just couldn't take the silver trim, so I decided to just wrap it in some 3M gloss black that I had. It made such a big difference too. It really made the whole entire interior look way better. So there we go, got this piece off, it's wrapped in black. I'm gonna remove this trim when because I'm gonna send these back to Jason. So he doesn't have to worry about taking that stuff off. It's very simple, just gonna peel right up, but I'll show you the original color. All right, so I got the black wrap off. As you can tell, perfect. No residue left or anything. So if you use quality wrap, you won't have any issues when you go to remove that stuff. Now we're going to remove the ring. You simply just flip it around. There's little tabs. All you gotta do is just push them and pop it out. There we go, got this piece out. Gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna unwrap this for Jason, so he doesn't have to deal with that. I won't do that on camera because it's gonna be boring to watch, but I guess I'll show you what it was prior to wrapping it so you guys get an idea. All right, got the trim off. This one's a little bit shinier. It's a little bit more chrome looking, so I definitely wanted to get rid of that. Looked way too, I don't know, it stood out way too much. So these pieces are going to be sent back to Jason as well as this one. I'm gonna unwrap this one as well for him. There you go, that piece is unwrapped. First, I'm gonna clean this up. There's just some dirt and stuff, and since I have it out of the car completely, might as well clean it up before I put it all back together. If anybody is curious, this is obviously not real carbon fiber. If you look on the back, it's just hydro dipped. So don't think this is real carbon fiber. This is just, fake. But all cleaned up, looking good. So now let's get to actually putting the Alcantara pieces on. There we go. Ring installed. Now we're gonna do the trim pieces. And there we go, done. So look, everything flows really nicely. I was just thinking, I believe the 18 Plus actually had leather here, leather with red stitching. So that's really nice. I forget if they did black or the leather, I forget. But either way, doing Alcantara in the car as well also helps add damping to the the actual inside. So it adds a little bit of sound deadening, quiets things up a little bit. Pieces aren't as creaky and cracky. This gives a nice soft touch, and I think it just looks really, really clean. Really like how this turned out. Brand new OEM pieces, genuine Alcantara with red stitch. So really happy with that. There we go. The boot's on. Everything flows really nicely. Got all the matching stitching. Looks really, really good. I actually like it with the carbon or the hydro dip, whatever you want to call it. Adds a nice touch. I think that's what it is. The 2018 Plus, this is not carbon anymore. It's like that gloss piano black color, which I'm not a fan of. I mean, it looks good. Dust collects on it. It can scratch easily. I think I just prefer the carbon, even though it's fake. But yeah, really, really nice. So now we got to install this piece on that. Got to transfer everything over. That you just pop into the actual car, so that one's going to be easy. But we're almost done here, so let's move on to this piece. All right, so we're going to have to remove a few screws. So if you look under here, we're going to remove, I believe, these screws, a couple over here. We're also going to remove the heated seat switch. There's a couple other screws, I believe right here as well. And then everything should pop out. But again, I haven't done this before yet, so I'm just doing some trial and error here. But I will report back and let you know if there's any other extra clips that I need to remove. You can still do this in the car, but I just prefer to take it out. It's really simple. 3 screws to remove and then a couple plugs and everything, and came right out. So it's much easier to work outside the car and making sure you're not, scratching anything like that in the interior. So let me get this undone and I'll kind of walk you through it once I get a better idea. So you had to remove 10 screws. There was 4 up here. There was 2 on the sides there, 1 for the heated switch, and then 2 really far in the back. I think that was 10. But I have 10 screws here, so otherwise this just pops right out. All right, so we got the whole piece stripped out. I believe it was around 10 to 12 screws, I forget. You're gonna have to remove the clip that plugs this on for the SI drive and everything. And then you're gonna pull that out nice and safe. All right, so we're just going to reinstall everything on this one. It's very straightforward. Take all your screws. Just one thing to note, when you're installing all this stuff, there's obviously extra fabric, extra material, so things are going to be a little bit tighter fit, which is actually good because, like I said, it helps with the sound deadening. But so it's a little bit harder to push in and everything. There we go. We got the heated switches in. Now we're going to transfer over this. Simply just slide that in. Pop the clips in. Now we're simply going to put the cup holders back on, so we're just going to lay it on top. And turn it over, put the screws in. Now we're going to get this piece back together, so we're just going to slip it back into place. Now we're just going to put all the screws back in. So getting there, almost done. Super nice. Everything is beautifully matches up. Keep in mind this is the OEM armrest that comes in the STI. Stitching follows perfectly. Awesome. Everything fits nice and snug. Looks really, really good, and it feels nice. So this is the way it should have came. Just with the stitching, everything flows. I hate it how there's so many different materials and plastics used, and it gets a little busy, and for me, I prefer something a little bit more simple, something that flows better. Having all this Alcantara just kind of, to me, completes it, makes it a little bit nicer, and just makes the car look a little bit more finished in my eyes. So now all we have to do is just reinstall all this, put the screws back in, make sure you plug all the stuff back in underneath, and then we'll be set. Installed. Looks absolutely beautiful in here, super clean. I mean, I love how this stitching just continues to matching up with that. Goes right up to here, matches with that. Super clean, absolutely love it. Up here looks really good. I just love how it looks. It really is clean. It really cleaned it up. And now I don't have to worry about scratching and you know, the cheap plastic there. It's nicely covered with some really nice Alcantara. I just love how that all flows perfectly. So, but yeah, that's it, guys. I hope you guys like it. I know I do. I know Alcantara isn't for everybody. You can get this stuff in leather if you prefer leather, but for me, I just prefer the Alcantara look. I think it looks really nice, really clean. It's very hard to convey this on camera. In person, it looks way nicer than the actual picture is showing here. But absolutely love it. Huge shout out to Jason and Overland Designs. Absolutely killed it. He literally shipped this out yesterday. It got to me today. It took about a week or so for him to actually make it. But you know, he makes the stuff by hand. It's only him. It's not like a huge company or anything. So, you know, he does the stuff by hand, and you know, he's a very busy guy. I think now I actually have every single VA 2015 plus WX or STI piece by Overland in the car. I think the only piece that I'm missing is you can get these in Alcantara, but I just prefer the carbon there. I mean, he can do anything that you want, but I believe for everything that he offers, I have in the car. Obviously, I don't have that piece that he offers because I can't do it with that head unit, but otherwise, I have everything else, and absolutely love it. I had quite a few pieces from him in my old WRX in my 2013, and I knew when I got this car, I would definitely want as much stuff as I could to get in this car from him, and sure enough, he delivered. Absolutely love it. Looks awesome. If you guys are interested in any of these specific things or other parts that he offers, maybe for other cars as well, be sure to tell him that I sent you. He's a really good dude, and I want to send some business his way because he gives you some high quality stuff, and I think a lot of you would love to have some of this in your car. So that's it for this one, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, be sure to ask them below. But in the meantime, keep it clean, keep it simple, and I'll catch you in the next one.